Welcome to Sideshow. We're your hosts, Brian the Reed and Corey the Games, and we're playing Sonic Maurice Hedgehog.
Made by Sonic Maurice team.
But yeah, as I was saying about the American Dad episode, they were looking for a fun couple that they could spend nights out with. And they find this one couple who's like really adventurous and shit, right?
Yeah.
But because they're really young and Stan and Francine are, really old. Stan's like, we all have to act, young and fun and blah blah blah, right? Mm-hmm. And Francine takes it too far. She's like, oh my god, where am I right now? My mom and dad will be so mad if I miss curfew. And Stan's just like, reel it in. I know I've said it many, many, many times before on this show, but the writing on American Dad has just gotten better and better, and this writing on Family Guy has just gotten worse and worse.
You should really take a look at American Dad and see who's actually writing the episodes. To see if it actually is Seth MacFarlane still writing them. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Sonic has passed my ACT. Remember that? The Florida Act?
No.
Or the Fact, as they would call it. Oh, that was so stupid. I really, really hated those tests. To a point where more than half the people I knew just gave up on school and decided to do GEDs. I mean, I'm not gonna say that's just the wrong form of action. I feel like they just gave up.
I will tell you this, as someone who had to get their GED because the private school I went to refused to get accreditation.
That makes more sense there, but then when you're like, oh, I'm going to leave school early, just be can take a test and leave school.
Well, here's the thing. As we were going through it, our school was going more and more towards teaching kids how to take a test.
Yeah.
And I can't blame them. Now, mentally speaking, as someone who took their GED, I'm more out of being forced to than actually wanting to. It is not easy.
Did you study?
Yeah. And even then, it was not easy.
Because I got by without studying more than half the time. I felt like I would have probably
Because you were being taught how to take a test, not how to pass.
Well, no, I didn't, I barely paid attention because I knew what everything was. I knew, basically, I was a decent student. Except for, certain classes, that I just hated because they were stupid. But, yeah. I can understand entirely, why, some of the tests were just stupid. You had the Florida ACT, then there's the the SAT and all that other crap. I do not know where it is in this one. I'm gonna immediately lose. It's just really, honestly, it's really sped up now, so it's actually kind of hard.
I'm not gonna lie. This was actually really stupid.
It was their first game, so I do understand it.
Dude,
but honestly, I felt like this is actually a much harder, special stage in order to get the emeralds on.
I will give you that. Completely.
I mean, at least they gave you a breather and there's only 6.
What?
There's only 6. I also do or is it the Master System versions of Sonic the Hedgehog 1? Because instead of finding them, I mean, instead of instead of...
So what you said?
The Master System of Sonic the Hedgehog 1.
No. What you said about, writers for American Dad versus Family Guy?
Yeah. Is this Seth MacFarlane?
Seth MacFarlane is the primary writer for American Dad, but he stopped writing as of 2002 at that time.
Oh, so essentially it's a better show because he's not writing it.
Well, actually, for this, it looks like Seth only wrote scripts for seasons 1, 3, and 4.
Okay then.
And yet, all of the most recent seasons are like fucking trash.
For American Dad?
No, for
Family
Family
Guy?
Guy.
Oh, so he doesn't even write Family Guy?
Not anymore, apparently, not since season 4. And it also looks like none of them share, at least from what I can tell, none of them share a writing team.
Remember that issue I had before?
Seth MacFarlane, it looks like he did write for American Dad. And he's ranked number 19 of the most overrated directors of all time.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell me on this site because unlike the Family Guy one right here, as you can see, there's 50 fucking writers for this goddamn show. Some have only been on for a season, some have been on for multiple. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I could not find a similar list like this for American Dad. At least on Wikipedia. I found one here, and you know what? I saw.
Am I seriously gonna die at the first boss?
And you know what I saw
I'm
here
gonna play it cautious.
You know what I saw here that made me laugh my fucking ass off though?
What?
There was you remember that episode where with the cyber terrorist who was actually a Lord of the Rings fan?
Yeah.
And his name was Dan Weber.
Yeah.
That's the name of one of the writers for American Dad.
Yeah, they do that a lot in shows. But yeah, going back to Sonic the Hedgehog, I actually like the Master System version of the game. I feel like we should play it at some point. That one.
In other words, people be ready to wait for a long fucking time.
In other words, for the Master System version, you know how like in this one you have to like do the special stages and to get the emeralds that way. In the Master System version, you find them in the levels. So essentially, as long as you know where they are, you can pretty much 100% that game pretty easily. Unless you're playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, you're going to have a grand time with, because that game is hard.
As hard as Sonic 06?
That is difficulty based on bad design. And Sonic 06 isn't hard. Sonic 06 is badly designed. Sonic the Hedgehog 2, on the other hand, those bosses are stupidly... I'm gonna die. Those bosses are stupidly hard because they don't give you any rings on them. And they're one level in themselves. And if you game over, obviously, you know, Sonic games are. If you game over, you like start at the beginning.
Speaking of for that,
I also feel like...
I was thinking that if we do end up gaming over, why don't we just use level select? Because I think you continue on after beating the levels.
Wait, what?
I think if you were to activate level select in this game, and say you died on the 3rd level, right?
Yeah.
I think you can start at the 3rd level using level select and just continue on to 4, 5, 6, so on.
Well, of course I could do that. I just wouldn't have any of the Chaos Armors anymore.
True.
You know when Sonic games are about puzzles and not going fast?
Wait, what?
The original Sonic the Hedgehog game, you remember how, like, you know how everyone says, gotta go fast? Where they're basically saying that's, like, Sonic's only trait?
Yeah.
The original Sonic games were... You actually went pretty slow in them. Oh, come on, really? But yeah, Sonic 2 on the Game Gear was...
On the GameCube gear?
Was ridiculously hard, but I feel like that's also because
God.
the Game Gear game...
Do not remind me of that fucking game. I could never beat the first fucking boss.
I just told you about it earlier. And you didn't even bat an eye to when I was talking about it. But I also feel like that one was also I actually did I sat down and actually did beat it. But I feel like that one was only hard. I know what the first boss is like. You basically get locked.
Hang on. I'm trying to make sure I have it correct here.
It's
the one where you start out here on this fucking rail thing. And then right before you actually fall into the fucking lava, Eggman, for whatever goddamn insane reason, saves you.
Yeah.
Fuck that boss.
You're not on the rail thing, by the way. The only reason why that one is so hard is if you played the Master System version of it, I guarantee you would have a much easier time. For one reason.
What?
Game Gear game. See that Sonic has Past Act 1? That like square like area?
Yeah.
That's the size of the Game Gear game. In a sense, if you think of it that way. Because the Game Gear game, they crop out the game like to a point where it's like much less of the screen. Like if you play the Master System version of the first game, it's gonna be the same deal. But in order to combat that, they did make Sonic's sprite different. But I don't think they changed his hitbox. So I think that's why the difficulty is a little bit there. It was a fun game, it was just stupidly hard. And they changed, I know the Master System version of the game, the first one.
You know which one I remember?
They actually changed one of the bosses up due to the screen size.
You know what, fuck. You know which one I remember actually enjoying?
Sonic Triple Trouble?
Yeah. Wait, how did you know?
I took a guess based on what you owned back then.
I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, jeez.
That game was fucking amazing.
Just don't play Sonic Blast. That game feels like a Chinese knockoff produced by Sega. You should so totally look it up. It is ridiculously bad.
Sonic Blast?
Sonic Blast for the Game Gear. I'll pull up a picture so people know what I'm talking about. But,
hang on. This one?
Yes. Sonic Blast.
I don't remember. I think I had Sonic Chaos and Sonic Triple Trouble. I had a game called Zoo.
Pull up a picture of, like, the actual, like, game, though. Wow, I gotta go back because I did not make the jump.
Do you remember what that game is? Zoo?
Yeah, sorta.
It's a Tetris knockoff. And has nowhere near the awesome, you know, theme.
Okay, one more jump. And anybody watching this, yeah, I'm playing on the Sega Classics collection on the PC. So I probably have cropped them out, I'm not sure, but they're on the sides there's like bars and stuff. So the emulation might not all be there, I don't know, so don't be like, hey, we're pirating. Like that because we're not, because we own the actual game. But Sega can't even get their own dang emulators right. I mean, half the time they always license it out to people that made emulators. Like, you remember that Sonic Classics collection for the DS?
Oh, God.
Where, like, it had, like, weird, like, panning going on with the camera? That was basically a custom emulator made by a guy that made one of the emulators that Sega bought out. Which was hilarious that they did that, because Sega is too lazy to port their own games.
That's true.
I mean, no matter how many times I play Sonic the Hedgehog, it will never sound the same as it did when I played the Genesis version. On an actual Genesis, because the Genesis had a weird sound chip that nothing is really emulated properly.
It could be worse. We could be playing the version of this game where Sonic never shut the fuck up.
Yeah, since we are playing on the Classics collection, I mean not Sega Mega Drive's classics for the PC. There is a no, I can't get it. I tried. Oh wow, 420. That's hilarious.
Blaze it.
ET phone home.
There needs to be an audible high five. Don't leave me hanging like a fucking douchebag.
I'm playing the game.
That's a pause button.
It didn't work.
Huh. So apparently the current Red Power Ranger went on American Ninja Warrior.
Okay. Did you lose?
Yeah.
Kinda figured.
He actually fell on the pendulum obstacle.
I mean, I know they're athletic enough to like.
Have
do,
you
like...
seen Brenda Mayha?
Okay, I'm just saying. Oh, whoops. I just know they're athletic enough to like fill the.
To fill the. Well,
so, yeah.
just so you know, here's Brenda Mayha, and here's Yoshua Sidarso, the current Red and Blue Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they are more fit than fucking Jason and Tommy were when they were in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Okay. I'm just saying, like, they're more fit, but they're not like. They're just like fit because they're active, not like fit because they train for stuff like Ninja Warrior. Why didn't you roll?
Because Sonic's a dumbass.
Back to the beginning. So, depending on how things go, I might need to do a level select because unlike the Sonic 3, if I game over, there's no like actual saves.
Yeah, and also,
I mean, there are saves on the emulator, but it's not the same deal.
And also, unlike Sonic 3, you can't fucking shoot to get all the secret emeralds. What?
I'm pretty sure I can, but...
Do you even remember how to do that?
In Sonic 3? Of course
Yeah.
I do.
It was awesome.
Okay, please don't die again.
Please
Okay.
die again, it's funny.
It really is not. Because it just makes me have to redo, like, levels.
But yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, when
Yeah.
someone actually shared a picture of Brendan and Yoshua on Facebook showing how they're fucking ripped, I'm like, I feel so inadequate now.
I could be so totally mean, but I'm not going to be.
Hey Brian,
What?
you want to try to get Ranger fit with me?
I don't know.
Basically, it's just what the fandom calls it when we're trying to get fit so we can actually fill out a Ranger suit without issues. Like, you know, being super fat.
I don't know, I mean, I'm pretty sure there probably was a fat one at some point.
There actually was!
Okay, then there you go. Go cosplay as him, you're done.
Except, let me show you this. You're gonna know this.
It was in the wall! How did I get hit by it?
You're really gonna fucking know this, dude.
I just lost that right away.
Raita Oishi.
Just to confuse people, I'm not going to put a picture up for this one. I am foreshadowing my editing laziness on this one right here.
He is.
How do you know?
Because. Anyways, here's Raita Oishi, also known as Yellow Eagle. Yellow Owl from Jetman, right? Looks like a chubby guy, right?
I guess, yeah.
Well, take it up.
I looked.
Here's him in the fucking suit.
Okay.
Think about that for a moment.
Dang it.
That face. Ryan, that old face.
So, I'm probably gonna die again. Nope, rings.
You can do it.
Which I almost died getting 2 said rings. That's Sonic's worst enemy because he only has one like hit spot that you can actually hit him in. So, you know how they remade this for Android? Wow, Sonic did not have a jump animation there. He literally just like hopped while doing the run. Like he didn't do like his spin. But you know how they remade these for Android?
Yeah.
What was his name? I think it was Christian Whitehead or something like that.
I think.
Where he like basically he did more work than Sega when he actually ported the games under his own engine that he made. So basically get the game widescreen. You can add things like the spin dash and all that to the game with no issues. You can take out the spike bug that this game has. Which is hilarious.
The spike bug?
Yeah, if you get hit by spikes, you know how you lose your rings, right? If you have rings.
Yeah.
If you happen to land in another set of spikes immediately after, when you're in your invulnerability state, you'll die.
That's dumb.
That's the bug that was in the game. So they had the ability to take that out, which he made it so. But he also added the ability to play as Tails and Knuckles in Sonic 1. And then Sonic 2, they added the same thing. He also added one of the stages that got cut from the game that was heavily publicized, called a Hidden Palace for the second game, which eventually was just cut content and was put into third game. Because it was supposed to explain like the origins of Supersonic in a way. I mean, I did it again. I'm gonna probably say that I'm not quite sure how accurate this fact is, but apparently you were supposed to take all the Chaos Emeralds there, and then you would obtain Supersonic by going there. Like, think like the Super Emerald location where in the third game where you popped into that area. It'd be something like that. Except it was an actual stage.
That's kind of cool. And this has been a theory. A game theory.
Well, it was heavily publicized, so not as much. But, are you kidding me?
I still like reading the game theory rejects. Did you see the one from yesterday where it's like game theory? The Alola region is Shadow Moses Island.
Yeah, I'm dead again. I died on the same spikes, by the way.
You know, I've died so many times in that level too, so I can't really blame you.
Yay!
Well, off to a fantastic start. Shall we begin cheating?
Yep.